Hi, I'm Heather from booktubes, and today is romantic suspense recommendations. So I have the first couple are authors who write a ton of romantic suspense, first three maybe. Yes, they write a ton of romantic suspense and I've read quite a bit of it, so I recommend them kind of as a whole, and then I have other specific books or series. I love a thread of romantic suspense. I think that it can be something to drive the book forward without having an internal conflict with the couple. So I like that that can be used as a plot device and still have a happy couple within it who love each other and don't have to have a massive blow up fight or a big miscommunication, which drives all of us crazy. So romantic suspense is a good way to skip over all that. It doesn't always work out that way, but is a possibility. I also do just kind of like the dangerous men who are out here killing people on the streets and then come home, shower off the blood, snuggle with their woman. I don't know. I like these guys who are like vigilantes and crime lords and all these, and or like commandos who are hunting the crime lords. I just enjoy it. My first one is, of course, Kristen Ashley. Her Rock Chick series is definitely romantic suspense. It's also comedy, and these feature mostly older than 30 or 30 main characters, which is not the norm for romance. The first one is childhood friends, two lovers. Although she always had a crush on him, he kind of turned her down pretty firmly about 10 years ago, and now they're finally gonna get together like they were always supposed to be. She's like, no, we're not. And he's like, yeah, we are. You're mine. I'm laying claim. This is what we're doing. And I like the over-the-top commando alpha personality. I like that. There are trigger warnings in this series. Specifically, one of the later books, the main character is raped. So be aware of that. With that book in particular, that would be kind of the most extreme thing I would say that happens in the series. But be aware that there are trigger warnings. This first one, not quite as much maybe. There's kidnapping, there's shooting, there's your local friendly pot grower. There's a lot of things like that, but not necessarily triggers, if that makes sense. And then kind of a spin-off of the Rock Chick series, which you can read on its own, is the Dream Man series, I think. Or Dream Man is the first book. I'm really bad at remembering the series name. And this is about another type of commando guy who's maybe even more extreme than the Rock Chick guy. And just the weirdest setup you have ever heard in your life. Like, you were legitimately reading the beginning of this book and you're like, is he a vampire? And then in the book it's like, he is not a vampire. And I was like, then what is he doing? What is happening? I don't understand. And then there's another thing in this book with the days that I still legitimately don't know what the explanation for that is. Like, I'm still confused as to what the days were about. Like, was he sleeping with them? Was he just friends? Were they not even friends? I don't know. If you think you figured it out, be sure and tell me. I'm still confused over here. And then finally, another spinoff of that is the Dream Team series. These are all strippers from the strip club Smithies that plays a role in the other two series. And first one is Dream Chaser. I really like that each of the girls has a different reason for stripping, has a different long-term plan, that their alpha men have to be okay with it one way or another. And the first one is a girl who is enabling her brother making bad choices, and it's her getting over that pretty quickly with the help of the man that she is on her first date with, and who of course is very alpha and commando because he works for the commando from Dream Man or whatever he is. Yeah, it's kind of him helping her to grow and not let him continue to drag her down because of love. Then I have Jessica Gadziala. She, of course, writes a ton of romantic suspense. She has many interconnected series in her universe of Navasink Bank, which is a fictional town, I believe, over in New Jersey-ish. That's at least where it is in my mind. I don't know for sure that that is fact, because sometimes my brain just makes things up, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing. And so the first one that I read was The Fixer. This is the first in the professional series. This woman has a stalker. He's escalating. She feels that she is going to die, and so she contacts the Fixers. They say, hey, we don't do stalkers. We'll let the boss know when he gets in the morning. And he goes over to check, and the stalker has indeed showed up, and it's him cleaning up her mess, keeping her from having any consequences, and of course falling in love. I read all of the books that were on that series, and then I moved on to the Henchmen Motorcycle Club series, who are prominent players in Navasink Bank. They run guns and have their own turf and everything. The beginning of the Henchmen series is early on in her writing, and it kind of introduces a big bad guy who is a skin trader, who is like kind of a, it's not, he's a bad guy for a long time, if that makes sense. And the kind of all of the interconnected series are a part of taking him down. And then there's savages, monsters, whatever this series is, it's like independent players almost in Navasink Bank. One is like a sharpshooter, one is almost a kidnapper / muscle for hire, one is a tattoo artist who used to be the head of a gang, and he's my favorite, I think. So that's very interesting. That's all tied in. And then there's well, shoot, what's their name? Stormcloak? That's not it. The mercenary type people who are mostly veterans with PTSD or other issues from combat, or just the things that they've done, who maybe don't quite fit into society as a whole anymore. Stormcloak is not it. Stormfire? Firestorm? I don't know. I'm so bad at remembering. Shows up in like every book. I've read it like 50 million times. That's fine. Anyways, their leader has a romance with one of the bikers from the motorcycle club. Another one of their members have romances with a bunch of the other different factions, so they don't really have their own series, but they're tied into all the other series, especially the motorcycle club and Counterfeit Love. It's my favorite standalone. It's about a counterfeiter being blackmailed into helping this girl from the mercenaries who is taking down sex traffickers and their customers, because she was a victim of that, and when she escaped, is taking them down and needs a counterfeiter. And instead of asking him nicely, just is like, I know this, and this, I will do this, and this, unless you help me. And he's like the best cinnamon roll character ever, and I just love him. So that's my favorite standalone. And then there are the Maliks, who are loan sharks, and just like tall, dark hair, blue eyes. They're fascinating. They're interconnected into everything. Then there's the mafia with the woman on the docks. They run like the port and the Italian restaurant. It's tied in. They're all tied in together. You can start where you want to start. I recommend starting with The Fixer or one of her other more recent books, but literally every single book can be read as a standalone. You do not have to read all like 70 books in order to enjoy this romantic suspense universe. You can start where you want to. Let's see, is there something else? That might be all the interconnected ones that I've read. I think there's like a private eye agency too. Listen, you need like the interconnected yarn pointing to all of the different theories to keep track of everybody, but also at the same time you can read them all as standalone, so it doesn't really matter. It's a great body of work. Highly recommend if you like romantic suspense at all. Moving right along after I spent 45 minutes on just Gadziala and all the things without actually going into any detail because I could go on forever, but all the characters that I love so much. It's fine. Oh, and then there's like the River Brothers. They were knocking off big department stores in a revenge quest for their mother. They have their own series that's tied in because their sister married a Malik brother, and the Malik brothers are, you know, these different things. It's greatness. There's a lot of great representation. She does a lot of things with mental health, with PTSD, with just kind of having to live with the aftermath of the worst of humanity and doing it in a way that is respectful and throwing in humor in there, making you love the characters without having to kind of go through the muck of what they've been through and the things that formed them. It's just really well done. Really well done. So I'm a big fan. Then I have Tessa Bailey. She has the Line of Duty series, which is like all different cops and detectives. The first one, protecting what's his. She just stole like $50,000 and took her underage sister out of state away from their abusive situation. And so is hiding from the law because technically she's not allowed to do that. And moves in next to a really hot cop. And then all of those cops in that series are connected to the Crossing the Line series, which is kind of like criminals, con artists and stuff who are now kind of on the team for the FBI or something or other, falling in love. It's all just very entertaining and I really enjoyed it. Like I binged it. Like I binged both series ages ago. Then I have Set Up for Love by B Love. I am obsessed with this book. I need somebody else to read it so I can talk spoilers. So this guy, I think he's an NBA player or an ex-NBA player or something like that. He has just kind of ruined his marriage through infidelity and just not caring and not being a great person. And so he has a plan. He's going to win his wife back by setting up a fake robbery and then playing the hero and rescuing her from these guys. Great plan, solid plan. Probably wasn't gonna work, but he went for it. And one of the robbers is like, I like her a lot, I want her, and that's what I'm gonna take. I couldn't care less about your money. I'm gonna take your wife, and I'm gonna treat her better than you ever could have. And so we get the point of view of the husband, the point of view of the robber who will be the love interest, and the point of view of the wife. And so we have cheating with the husband. We have the wife cheating with the robber before she's technically separated from the husband, even though she's way done with him and he's been a jerk face and we don't really care about him. But also we care about him because we have his point of view. I don't know. It was just expertly well done. I couldn't believe some of the places that this book went, and I'm just a really big fan of it and I want more people to read it so I can talk spoilers with them because I just want to know who else didn't see these things coming, or if I'm the only one that was just like, what just happened? Let me know if you've read it. Message me on Instagram. Tell me what you think. Then I have Beautifully Cruel by J.T. Geisinger. This is a mafia romance, but I really feel like it fits within the romantic suspense canopy, if you will. So she's a waitress in a diner, and this guy's been coming in for coffee or whatever for like a year, and he looks at her, but he never talks or never says more than hi or something like that. And then she seals her fate or something, and things escalate quickly into him like kidnapping her and being like, you're mine now? I don't know. I don't even fully remember. There were some twists in this that I wasn't expecting, and I really enjoyed it. I read the sequel. So this is a duology, but they're about different couples, so you do get your happily ever after in this first book, and it was just very interesting. Very, very interesting. Also, that is a definite jealous hero. And there's some competition for the affection, and he will have none of it. So if you want jealous, that's a good one. And then I have Bad Billionaire, which is Bad Billionaires #1 by Julie Chris. This is a criminal, getaway driver, mechanic, good guy who's kind of in a bad situation. Well, the job goes wrong and he's gonna go to jail. He's always had a thing for his neighbor. She hides him from the cops for a hot minute, and they sleep together, and he's like, listen, I'm going to prison. Don't wait for me. 3 years later or whatever, he's been released, and a month before he's released, he inherits $1 billion. And then we proceed to watch him fight crime, do all these things with this $1 billion, just crush people beneath the weight of his money, win the girl that was all he ever wanted, and be a good guy who got $1 billion and has tattoos and is a little bit rough around the edges. And it was a brilliant concept, and I really enjoyed it. Lastly, I have another author who writes a lot of this. This is Aurora Rose Reynolds. I would say a lot of times her suspense element is kind of a smaller thread through the book, and a lot of times you don't see a whole lot of it on page, and then bam, somebody gets shot or kidnapped. I don't know. Am I the only one that feels this way? It doesn't matter. I love it. She writes Alpha, she writes Insta Love, she writes The Boom, which is the sweetest thing ever because she has the cutest family on Instagram. I believe she adopted her little boy, and she and her husband she says that he made her believe in the boom. They instantly fell for each other, and they've been together for years, and I just love them so much, even though I only know them through Instagram posts. I don't know. So for me, I'm just you can write all the Insta love you want because you had it. And it's so sweet, and you guys are living happily ever after, and I'm so happy for you. I don't know. Am I the only person that gets really invested in people's happiness? You know? Is that a thing? I don't really care about what you had for breakfast, and I don't really care about your drama, but when you're just it's us living happily ever after, I'm oh, you guys are so cute. Let me know. Is this a thing? Anywho. So she has lots of kidnappings and random shootings in her books. And I would say that the Until series is definitely romantic suspense. So this very first book, Until November, she has grown up without her dad. And I don't know, there's some sort of explanation. I don't remember what it's for. And her dad runs a strip club. And so she goes to go work with him. And the hero gets the idea that she is sleeping with the dad, and is so mad and so judgmental and misogynistic, and she just knocks him off his high horse, and I'm way to go. And then it's them falling in love, and he grovels, kind of. I don't remember, it might not have been super grovelly. A lot of times alphas tend not to grovel as much as they really should. I can't remember what the level was in this book, but I do remember enjoying it. And like I said, all of her series kind of have the random kidnappings and shootings. And then there's a spin-off series, which is Until Her, Him, and that is kind of all their kids of the first series falling in love. It's this whole big family, the Mason family, and it's really cute. And I like it. But it's a very specific taste. A very specific taste. I have to be in the mood, and when I'm in the mood, it's like candy. It's the perfect fix. I don't know. You tell me what you think if you've read it. Okay, that's my romantic suspense recommendations. I do love this subgenre. I have a thing for it. Obviously, I'm animated about it. Let me know your recommendations. I love lots of happy couple time within my romantic suspense elements, and if she gets kidnapped, I like for nothing super terrible to happen to her. I'm not a fan of slicing and dicing, definitely not a fan of sexual assault. If she gets kidnapped, I don't have an issue with that, but I don't like super bad things to happen to her. I like the unrealistic they just put me in a basement for 12 hours kidnappings, you know? I don't need super realistic. Keep it happy. That being said, some of these things do happen, not the sexual assault, because I would mention that, but some of these things do happen in these books. For instance, Beautifully Cruel, there's some slicing and dicing in there, so beware. But yeah, I forget things, so there's that. Let me know your recommendations, especially happy couple ones. Especially happy couple ones with jealous over-the-top alphas. I do have a thing for that. All right, thanks so much for watching. Bye.